This week we are covering the Beatitudes, which are found in chapter 4 of your textbook. The Beatitudes, many people consider them to be the center of the gospel. They're found in Matthew chapter 5. The Beatitudes mean blessed or happiness. Actually, they mean supreme blessed or supreme happiness. And it shows that happiness and blessedness are actually the same concept in the Gospels. Now, they are such an important thing, they're actually found in every single textbook that we have. In fact, there's one textbook that's in there twice. We don't cover them every time. We only really cover them twice. Once in New Testament, first semester, sophomore year, and again now in morality class. You may cover them a little bit next year, senior year as well. Now, this week, we will be doing some readings. We'll have an optional reading. We'll have this video, which I show you, and then you have a movie, Romero, you're going to watch. Your check for understanding will be two parts. The first part is I'm going to give you 8 situations, and you have to discern which Beatitudes goes with which situation. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to watch the Romero movie. When you watch the Romero movie, I want you to identify 8 characters, one for each Beatitude, who either have or don't have a particular Beatitude. Now, you can use characters more than once. So, for instance, Archbishop Romero, you can use him more than once. He's the main character, and so you can have him for 2, 3, maybe even 4. But don't use Romero for every single one. You will find within the movie there will be many characters who have the Beatitudes and many characters who don't. The Beatitudes are an upside-down kingdom. What that means is a lot of times in life we think something is really, really, really important, but it's not. And there's something we think is worthwhile or even negative, and it actually is extremely important for us as a human being. The Beatitudes, what it does is it's an opposite. So when you look at all 8 Beatitudes, we think what makes us strong, what makes us powerful, what makes us healthy, what makes us happy. A lot of times the opposite of what we think will make us happy actually does. The Beatitudes are about happiness, not just in the afterlife, but in this life. How am I happy here on earth? And this is evidence. The evidence for the success of Beatitudes is seen in the saints. The saints are so happy. They have such joy. Whenever you go to a monastery and you have extremely holy men or extremely holy women, they're just so happy and joyful whenever they live out the Beatitudes. Their lives are just amazing. They just smile all the time. In fact, sometimes they smile so much it can be downright annoying because they're like, how could someone be just so happy? Well, they are. The Beatitudes make you happy when you incorporate them. The problem is, it is a difficult happiness. It's like knowing that exercising and eating right will make us happy, but that's a lot of work. Therefore, sitting there watching TV and eating chocolate makes me happy too. Maybe not as happy, but it makes me happy. I'd rather take the easy way out than work hard and have ultimate happiness. That's what Beatitudes are. They're the ultimate happiness, but they are a lot of work. To incorporate the Beatitudes into your life is not easy. It's extremely, extremely difficult. The first Beatitude is, blessed is the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. What is poor in spirit? People think that poor in spirit means someone that they are down, they're depressed, or they don't really feel or have God in their lives, but that's not what poor in spirit means at all. Poor in spirit has its key aspect in humility. Go back to Mere Christianity, Book 3, Chapter 8, which we just covered a couple weeks ago. Humility, the best definition, the simplest definition, I could say, of humility, is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking about yourself less. It's when you're so focused upon others, you're so focused upon the needs and the wants of others, that you think about yourself so much less. When you think about an individual who earns this world, who has everything in this world, they are often very proud. The proud get this world. But if you want the kingdom of heaven, if you want God's kingdom, you are humble. You want God above everything else. The second Beatitude is, blessed are they who mourn, for they shall be comforted. The best example of this you can see is in the movie Inside Out. The movie Inside Out, it's not my favorite Disney movie, but it actually has a lot of truth in it. And when you watch that movie, Joy spends the entire movie trying to get rid of sadness. Putting sadness in a circle, putting sadness in a closet, leaving sadness behind, because she thinks the way that you have happiness is you eliminate sadness. And that's actually not true. If you want true happiness, you occasionally have to embrace sadness. And it actually shows the happiest people are not those who are never sad. The happiest people are those who focus upon God, and their sadness has a point. It has a purpose. And that's what, in Jesus' life, one thing he's trying to do is he's not trying to eliminate sadness. He's not trying to eliminate pain. People think that Christianity will have no pain, you'll have no sadness. That's not true at all. You don't get that until heaven. On this earth, you're going to have lots of sadness and pain, but Jesus gives it a meaning. It gives it a purpose. And so, blessed are they who mourn shows that you have sadness, but you have sadness with other people. There's a really great quote that I like. It's that happiness shared is happiness multiplied. Sadness shared is sadness divided. What that means is when we share our happiness it multiplies. It grows not just amongst others, but amongst ourselves as well. But when we share our sorrow amongst ourselves is divided. So those who mourn are those who are able to connect with other individuals. They mourn with other individuals. And it shows if you truly want to be happy, the goal is not to just eliminate sadness in your life completely. It's to give it a purpose and to connect with other individuals. Mourning with others increases our happiness greatly. The third beatitude is, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Meekness is not weakness. Many people think meekness is someone who's like a mouse. They're small, they're innocent, they can't defend themselves. That is not meekness at all. That's weakness. And the Christian concept, meekness, is the idea of strength that is guarded or strength that is controlled. An individual who is meek, they actually are extremely powerful, but they can control their power. If you remember these analogies I gave last year, one of the best analogies of meekness is a ninja. A ninja has the ability to kill you 20 ways without standing up, but they don't do it. They don't use it. So like when you go to karate classes, one of the first things they tell you is that you only use this in self-defense. You never use this to attack. That's why the Cobra Kai Doji and the Karate Kid was such a bad thing, because they use their strength to attack, whereas true martial arts only use it to defend. Also, another analogy is the sword that's sheathed. You have a knight who has a powerful, amazing sword that can cause so much chaos and destruction, but his sword is sheathed. He only brings it out when it's absolutely necessary. So an individual who is meek, when they inherit the earth, what that means is a lot of people think to get the earth, to get things of the earth, you've got to use your power, you have to use your strength, you use everything that you have forcefully and powerfully, but that's not true at all. And in reality, Jesus says, you want to truly inherit the earth? Don't be weak. Actually, be very, very, very strong, but only use it when it's necessary. Do you know that student who's just brilliant, smart, but they don't want everyone to know it, or they won't want to seem like the smartest person all the time, even though everyone knows they're smart? On the flip side, think of an individual who is really smart, and they always want to be right, and they always want everyone to know they're right. That's an example of meekness and lack of meekness. In my own life, there's a guy who I went to high school with. He was a senior and I was a freshman. I told this story last year, and that in football practice, he was a senior, and he was a strong senior. He was a powerful senior. He's one of those guys, muscles everywhere, like 2% body fat. And he could have just killed us freshmen, but he didn't. He held up. He had the power, he had the strength, he had the ability, but he could have destroyed us, but didn't, because he had meekness. There is nothing to be gained by destroying a bunch of 120-pound freshman boys. Meekness is something when you have the strength, you don't give that strength, or you don't overpower others with that strength. You know when to use it best, and you know when not to use it at all.